So, welcome back to another episode of Tractor Roy. My name is Trent. We're working on this WD45 again today. Just as a recap from the last episode, we were able to get those pistons put in, the head stuck on and torque, and in between these episodes I got that oil pan stuck back on. Now, I've just set the rocker arm shaft back in here with all the rocker arms on it. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down off of these 4 studs here. We're going to go through and adjust these valves. I'm going to have to go look through the manual to figure out what the torque specs are of these 4 stud nuts and what our valve lash is. Once we get this torqued down, I'm going to go ahead and stick on this the oil feed line to this just so I don't forget about it, because that would be a bummer to not have oil going to our rocker arms. Just kidding. It doesn't actually show a ooh, that's a little snug still. It doesn't show a torque spec on these. So I'll just go run them down until they're fairly snug. I'm going to do these ones kind of evenly also because I didn't back off any of these adjusting nuts for the rocker arms. Way better. I'll stop just short so that I can get a good hand feel of how tight these are actually getting. With this rocker arm shaft, just like with the head, I'm going to start in the middle and push out towards the ends. I don't know if it's totally how you need to do it, but that's just, it makes me feel better. That one's snug. That one's snug. Pretty snug. Snug. Okay, now I'll tighten it up. Some of the engineering that you can appreciate from these old things. So you want to retorque this thing after this head warms up so that head gasket sets. Even though I reused this one and just sprayed some copper coat, it'll still compress just a little bit more. So in order to retorque these head bolts, you have to pull off this rocker arm shaft. Well, it makes that much easier to adjust the valves when you've already, well, I guess it convinces you to adjust those valves when you've already pulled off the rocker arm shaft. So either you don't do anything, don't adjust your valves, don't torque your head back down, or it kind of forces you to do everything, which I kind of appreciate. While I'm in here, before I forget, I'm going to put our little oil feed line for this rocker arm shaft in. There's a little nipple for it right here on this back side. I don't think you can see it because of the angle. Right there. And that attaches to this flare nut over here, and then the other end just goes into this hole into the top of the rocker arm shaft. There's nothing special about it, but it is necessary. That's what lubes up, like I said, the whole rocker arm shaft. My other WD, the one that broke, it is not sticking in here. It broke off of the, oh, bigger than that. It broke. I don't remember which side broke. I think it was the nut, or the end with the flare nut. So that rocker arm shaft hasn't been getting lubricated for who knows how long. So next we're going to adjust the valves on this thing. I'll probably walk you through one of them and then just go ahead and do the rest of them because it's a pretty boring, tedious process. Not much really changes between between pistons, between cylinders. There's a bunch of ways to do this, and it's really just whatever method you prefer. You can either start with number 1 on top dead center, do it, move to number 3, because 1, 3, 4, 2, well, that's a farmall. This one's probably the same way. Anyways, so I think it's 1, 3, 4, 2 is the firing order on this. So we'll do 1 at top dead center, adjust those valves, 3 at top dead center, adjust those valves on the compression stroke, by the way. Up to 4, do those valves. Up to 2, do those valves. Another way you could do it, get 1 to top dead center, and then some of the charts, it'll tell you which valves you can do. You can do like the intake on 2, the exhaust on 3, and nothing on 4, maybe something like that. And then you rotate it so 4 is at top dead center. And then you can do the other valves that you missed the first time around. Another way of doing it, just to make sure that you're on the proper part of the cam lobe, as you rotate that around, as soon as the intake valve starts opening, then you can adjust the exhaust valve, and then you rotate it until where the exhaust valve starts to close, you can adjust the intake valve. And you can do that for each cylinder as well. Bunch of ways to do this, whatever you prefer, whatever you're more comfortable with. I'll probably just go number 1 to top dead center, adjust it. Number 3, adjust it. Number 4, adjust it. Number 2, adjust it. And then that's it. They're all pretty foolproof as long as you're paying attention and kind of have an idea, because you want to make sure that you're on the base circle of the cam and not on the lobe. As long as you do that, it really doesn't matter how you do these things. Like I've said a couple of times, once we get this thing heated up, we'll have to torque it back down. Torquing it down involves pulling off the rocker arm shaft. Since you torque this down and theoretically compressed that gasket and lowered the head closer to the block, you're going to have to adjust these, because now the push rods would hypothetically stick out higher against this surface than they were before you retorqued the head. That would make your valve lash tighter by torquing the head down. So we have to go through and adjust those after we've hot torqued it. So we got number 4 pulled up here. You can tell they're loose on both of them. So the book says 12? Yeah, 12 hot. From looking at forums and stuff, they said 16 cold is pretty good for it. So I'm going to back off that backing nut, stick my feeler gauge there under the other end of the rocker arm, and then I'm going to tighten until I feel some drag. I like that amount of drag. So now I got to hold my slot while I tighten the jam nut. Okay. Now we'll double check. I like it. We'll do the same on our exhaust. I like that one pretty good. Double check. Perfect. I like it. And like I had said, that was on cylinder 4. So I'm going to go through and rotate this to get to 1, 2, and 3. I just started on 4. It was at 1 top dead center, but I rotated it around once to make sure that it was 1 top dead center. And it was. So now I'm going to go do 4 because I rotated that thing a full 360. Now we're going to be at 4. And then I'm going to go 180, and then it should be 2. And then another 180, and it'll be 1. Another 180 will be 3. And another 180 will be back to 4. So since I'm at top dead center on 4, I could go to 3. What is that? 3 exhaust. 2 intake, yep, and then I could go back to one top dead center and then do the other ones. But anyways. Well, I think we're going to stop the episode here. I went ahead and got those studs cut out like you saw. I think I broke like 4 or 5 out of the 6. So I just made 6 new ones. I grabbed that manifold, muffler, and carburetor off of my, well, it was running WD that I broke. Since I'm pushing that one off for a little bit, then I'm going to get this one fired up, see if it's even worth anything to keep going. And then, because that one's sentimental, we're going to hold on to it. This one probably gets sent down the road. I'll throw a brand new manifold onto that one to keep that one nice with a new muffler. I also got the water pump stuck on here on the front. I don't think I did anything else outside of the video. Oil pan's on. Brand new oil filter. I haven't filled it up with oil yet. So that's where we're at. I believe what my plan is now is I'm going to put spark plugs in, fill it full of oil, and then probably try and get it to pop off of ether or off of a temp gas tank. This gas tank is still a little nasty. It needs washed out. We're going to see if this engine is going to, actually I could probably do a compression test too. So I'm thinking out loud here. So the next thing, going to fill it full of oil, going to do a compression test on each of these cylinders. It should be okay, but with those new rings, it'll actually probably be a little bit low, at least until it runs a little bit and wears those rings in. Then I want to either off of a temp tank or off of just a little bit of starting fluid, see if I can get this thing to run without liquid in it. You know, as long as it's only for a couple of minutes, then it's fine. It won't do any damage to it. I want to make sure it runs before we stick the radiator on. Actually, I guess the radiator is really the only thing left, so maybe I will just throw it to you. I don't know. Well, when you see the next video, that's what we're going to do. I don't know. This thing's finally coming along. It's been in the shop for over a year. I got that compressor, and that's been taking up my time, but I think I finally got it all dialed in today. Got a new muffler on there and all that good stuff. So we're going to be focusing on this, so then we can do the Farmall A that we got in here, and in the springtime, we'll be able to finish painting the M, hopefully move all these projects out, and get some new projects coming in, because I'm kind of tired of seeing these same things sitting here. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy seeing this tractor, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, throw a comment down below, subscribe if you're not, and let me know what else you want to see. And I will catch you on the next one.